Good day, grade 9 students. So sa araw pong ito ay pag-aaralan po natin ang atin pong lesson para sa ikalawang linggo ng ikalawang markahan. So for second grading of week 2, we're going to have the joint and combined variation. So let's start first by reviewing what we have last week. So last week, meron po tayong discuss which is the direct and inverse variation. So we have four kinds of variation: the direct variation, inverse variation, joint variation, and combined variation. So last week, we have the direct and the inverse variation. So when you see again direct variation, when y varies directly as x increases, y also increases. But if x decreases, y also decreases. And we have the equation y equals to kx, or k times x. And if we have the inverse, y varies inversely as your x. When your x increases, your y decreases. So inversely. So if your x decreases, your y increases. And we have the equation y is equal to k over x. Now we're going to have the two additional variation, your joint and combine. So when you say joint, when y varies directly to two or more quantities. So it's direct, but now we have two quantities involved. So in your direct, you only have y equals to kx. But if your joint, you have y equals to kxz. Okay, you have an additional variables involved, but it is direct. Now, for your combined, that's why it's called combined. Dalawa po siya. Meron directly and inversely. So, y varies directly to some quantity and then inversely to another quantity. So, an example of that is y is equal to kz over x. This is an example of your combined variation. So, we have here your four kinds of variation. Tutukan muna natin si joint at si combined since tapos na tayo kay direct and inverse. So, what's the difference between your joint and combined variation? So, for your joint, you're given with the sentence or statement y varies jointly as x and z. So, you can see the word jointly. Then, you have your equation y is equal to kxc, which we saw a while ago. So, nakita na natin ito kanina. Then, when you say combined, you have y varies directly as x and inversely as z. So, when you say combined, you can see the first two variation na diniscuss natin last week. So, yung directly at saka inversely na word, makikita natin dito. So, dalawa ang makikita niyong equation dito. Isang product and then a quotient. So, y is equal to kx divided by z. So, yun yung pinagkaiba nila with the equation and the statement. So, how about doon sa pagkuha natin ng constant? So, to find the constant for joint, you're going to have k is equal to y divided by x times z. Tandaan po natin yung dalawa, ha? Sa pagkuha ng y, or sa y value, and then for constant, you have k is equal to y divided by xz. Or, how did we get that? So, you have here your y is equal to kxz. So, we divide both sides by xz para makuha natin yung value ng k. So, cancel. So, k is equal to y over xz. So, that's for joint. For combined, para makuha natin ang constant, that is yz over x. Paano naman natin yung nakuha? So, multiply muna natin yung y and z dito sa ating equation. So, that becomes yz over kx. Now, we only need the value of your k. So, divide natin both sides by x. Cancel. So, the value of k is yz over x. So, ito yung mga tatandaan natin para sa pag-compute natin ng joint and combined variation. Tutukan muna natin ngayon how we're going to translate. Paano na ba natin natatranslate yung mga equations? Let's have a few examples. For example, y varies jointly. So, you see the word jointly. So, paano natin yan? So, y equals, so jointly, simulan natin sa constant. So, it's a direct. You just have to put the two variables m and s. So, this is the translation of that statement. Then, how about the area A? So, meron tayong area A. Varies, again, it's jointly as the base B and the height H. So, lagay lang natin. So, that is already the translation for that statement. It's jointly. So, it's just a multiplication. How about the next one? So, we have G varies directly as L. So, yun directly kay L. And then, inversely as R. So, over R tayo kasi inversely siya kay R. So, directly with L and then inversely with R. So, this is our equation. So, that's how we're going to translate a given statement into an equation. Now, let's start to compute. Let us answer a joint variation here. So, here's an example. We have here y varies jointly. So, tingnan natin yung mga keywords na ginagamit. Y varies jointly as x and z. So, first thing na gagawin natin dito is magta-translate tayo. Sabi, y varies jointly as x and z. So, sulat muna natin. Y is equal to, sabi, jointly as x and z. So, paano ulit natin makukuha yung constant nito? So, divide natin yung x doon. So, y over xz. Then, ang una nyong hahanapin is yung value natin ng constant. Okay, hatiin na natin. So, we have here y is equal to 81 when x is equal to 9 and z equals to 3. So, dun muna tayo. So, we need to find your constant. Sabi, y is 81. X is equal to 9. At ang z ay 3. So, 81 divided by 9 times 3 is 27. And your 81 divided by 27 is equal to 3. So, ang value ng constant natin ay 3. Pagkakuha nyo ng constant, you can now compute. Let's get again that equation. So, we have y is equal to k x z, which becomes now, the value ng k natin ay 3. So, 3xz. So, this is now again, tawag natin dito, equation of variation. Next, kukuhanin natin ngayon kung ano yung hinahanap. So, we have to find z. Z ang hinahanap. When y is equal to 6 and x is equal to 5. Ang kailangan lang natin ay mag-substitute. So, substitute natin kung ano yung given. Ang y daw ay 6. So, 3. Ang x ay 5. At ang nawawala ay si z. Ngayon, ang una natin gagawin, multiply muna natin itong dalawa. So, we have 6 is equal to 3 times 5 ay 15z. So, basic operation on linear equation to find the value of c. So, divide both sides by 15 para kuha natin yung value ng z. So, the value of z is equal to 6 over 15, which we can further simplify, both divisible by 3. So, 6 divided by 3, that's 2. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. So, the value of c is 2 over 5. Okay. Hope you understand that first example. Proceed tayo dun sa pangalawa. Okay, let's have our second example. So, let's rewrite first. Using the variables, we have here the variable p varies jointly as Q and R squared. So we'll write it as P is equal to jointly. So K, Q, then R, then we have a squared. Then, para makuha natin yung value ng constant, divide natin sa QR squared. Para makuha natin yung ating constant. So, ang constant natin ay P over QR squared. Then, after that, tingnan natin yung ating given. We have here your P is 225. So, pwede natin ma-compute. So, 225 over Q ay 4. Q natin ay 4 times. Ang R natin ay 3. So, 3 squared. So, multiply lang natin. So, we have 225 over 4 times 9. So, rewrite lang natin. 225 over 36. So, in this case, this one is not divisible. So, in this case, 225 at yung 36 ay divisible sa 9. So, 225 divided by 9 ay 25 over 36 divided by 9, which is 4. Yan ang value ng ating constant. Ayun. Pwede natin kuhanin ulit yung equation. So, P is equal to, ang K na natin ay 25 over 4 QR squared. Then, we can now find, so in this case, we're going to look for the value of P. Okay, so P is equal to 25 over 4. Ang ating Q ay 6. At ang ating R ay 8. 8 squared. So, we simply multiply all. So, 25 over 4 times 6 times 64. So, we can simplify this further. 64 divided by 4. You can have 16. So, 25 times 6 times 16. So, our answer for this one is 2,400. So, tingnan po nating maigi lagi kung ano yung ginagamit sa equation. So, kanina wala tayong squared. Pero pagdating dito, we have seen the word squared. So, tingnan natin kung ano yung mga ginagamit. Tingnan kung paano natin kinuha yung values. So, if you have a squared here, so i-squared muna natin yung number bago natin i-multiply sa isa. Ganun din dito. So, we have here 8 squared, 64. Saka natin minultiply. Okay? So, I hope you understand that one. So, proceed po tayo dun sa kasunod. How to solve learning task 2A. So, in this case, papakita natin paano natin masasolve yung nasa module na pinapagawa, which is learning task 2A. So, gawin ulit natin by line. So, let's start with first line. So, for first line, we're given with, kuhanin muna natin yung equation natin. So, y varies jointly as x and z. So, we're going to write y is equal to kxz. How to find the constant? So, paano makuha natin yung constant? We're going to divide your y by xz. So, these are the equations that we need to answer that task. So, simulan muna natin sa unang line. So, for this case, you have your y, your x, and your z. So, nakapattern na po ito dun sa mga given natin nasa book. So, I just change all the given. So, kung nawawala sa bawat line sa module, ganun din po dito. So, we need to find the constant and the equation. So, to find again the constant, nakalagay doon, y over xz. So, your y is 60. your x is 3, and your z is 5. So you have 60 divided by 3 times 5 is 15. So to find that, so k is equal to 60 divided by 15 is 4. So ang value ng constant natin dyan ay 4. So I hope nakita nyo kung paano natin gawa yung first line. And for the equation, we simply substitute the constant. So y is equal to, ang ating constant ay 4. Then you write x and z. So that is our equation for the first line. So dun tayo sa second line. Second line, we use color red. Ayan naman. So in this case, ang nawawala naman ay x at k. So ano ba ang una nating mahanap dito? Kuhanin muna natin yung equation na given. Y is equal to 5xz. We just rewrite the given to find the value of our. Hindi, sulat muna natin yung constant. Makita natin. Constant is 5. So, k natin ay 5. So, to find our missing x, we simply substitute. Our y is 100. We have 5, and then the missing is x, and then the constant z ay 2. Let's multiply first 5 and 2. So we have here 100 equals 5 times 2 is 10. X. Saan galing yun? So we have here 5 and 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. Then to find x, divide both sides by 10. So that means 100 divided by 10, the value of x is 10. Yun. So I hope nakuha nyo. Per line rin ang gawin yung pagsagot para masundan nyo po ito. So that's how we're going to answer first and the second line. Okay, burahin mo natin para may space tayo for the third to fifth line. Okay, let's erase first. Burahin mo natin. Okay, yeah, we proceed to our third line. So, ang nawawala ngayon dito is the equation and the value of y. So, we can simply find the equation because may k na tayo. I-rewrite lang natin katulad doon. So, we have y equals, ang k natin is 5. Then, just write the constants, ay the variables x and z. Ayan. So, we have the equation y is equal to 5xz. Then, we simply fill in kung ano yung given natin. So, we have the x and the z. So, nawawala si y. So, our x is 3. And our z is 4. So, 5 times 3, 15 times 4 is 60. So, the value of y is 60. Yun. Sulat natin. Now, we're done with the third line. We proceed with the fourth line. Okay, we have an equation already. Y equals to 4xz. Sulat lang natin, ang constant ay 4. Then, we write the equation. Y is equal to 4xz. Yun po yun, galing dito. Then, we rewrite the given. Our y is 40. We have 4, and then our x is 2. 4 times 2, then the missing is z. So, we simply multiply first. So, 40 is equal to 4 times 2 is 8z. So, to find your z, divide both sides by 8. So, 40 divided by 8, ang value ng z natin ay 5. We write 5. Yun. And that's for our fourth line. So, we have our fifth line. Para sa ating panglimang line, given na ulit, ang ating constant ay 2/3. So, kailan natin? 2/3. Then, we write the equation. Y is equal to 2/3 xz. Lagay ulit natin ang given natin. So, ang value ng y, yun, 36. 2 over 3. Ang ating x ang nawawala. And the value of c ay 4. Okay. So, multiply lang muna natin. So, So, meron tayong 36 is equal to 8 over 3x. Yan. And then we divide both sides by 8/3 or by simply multiplying this by the reciprocal, which is 3 over 8. So, divide lang, canceling 3, cancel 8. So, we have x. So, 36 times 3 is, ito, simplify muna natin pala. 36 divided by 8. We can simplify it by 4. So, this will become 2. And this will become 9. So, 9 times 3. So, we have 27 over 2. And that is the value of our x. Sulat natin. 27 over 2. At yan ang ating way para masagot yung learning task 2A. Proceed po tayo doon sa ating combined variation. So, same thing. I-rate mo natin, y varies directly as x and inversely as z. So, you have y is equal to kx over z. Kasi directly as x, then inversely as z. Then, paano natin makuha yung ating k? Multiply muna natin yung y at z. So, yz, then over ang value ng kasama ng k, which is x. Then, we can now compute. So, k is equal to, ang value daw ng ating y ay 24. Ang value ng ating z ay 4. At, ayun pala, yung x natin ay 8. The value of x ay 8. So, we simply multiply muna. So, 24 times 4, that's 96. Then, divided by 8. And then, that is 96 divided by 8 is 12. So, ito yung ating value ng ating k. It's 12. Wait. Let's write it properly. That is 12. Ay, titingnan natin. K is equal to 12. Then after that, you can simply substitute that value of k to our given equation. So, y is equal to, instead of k, we're going to write 12x over z. So, we're now going to find now your y. 12, and then the value of x is 4. And the value of z is 6. Para mas madali, pwede na natin divide yung 12 by 6. So, 12 divided by 6 ay 2 times 4. So, we have y is equal to 8. Para lumiit lang yung number. Okay, let's move to the second example. So, again, i-rewrite muna po natin yung given. So, we have here f varies directly as g. F varies directly as g. And inversely as the square of h. Inversely as the square of h. Naka-square ulit. So, to find the value of your constant, multiply muna natin si f at si h squared. You have f times h squared over yung isa pa nating variable, which is g. So, after that, we can now find the constant by simply substitute. The value of f is 20. Ang value ng ating h ay 5. I-squared muna natin. All over, ang value ng g natin ay 50. So, 5 times 5, that is 25. So, 20 times 25 over 50. So, you have 20 times 25. Ang sagot ay 500 over 50. So, 500 divided by 50, that is 10. So, ang ating constant ay 10. Then after that, pwede natin hanapin yung isang nawawala. So, substitute muna natin. So, F is equal to, ang ating K ay 10 G over H squared. So, here we need to find F. 10, our G ay 18. Then, ang ating H ay 6. Ay, wait. Bakit meron yung equal sign? So, 6 squared. So, simplify muna natin. 10 times 18 is 180. Then, 6 times 6 ay 36. Then, we have 180 divided by 36, and that is equal to 5. So, the value of our F is 5. Yan. So, hope you understand this example. We proceed to our next. So, ngayon, paano naman natin sasagutan yung learning task 2B? So, una, kailangan ipakita muna natin yung equation natin. So, you have here y varies directly as V and W. Dalawa. So, jointly halos to. As V and W and inversely as Z. Inversely as Z. So, para makuha natin ang constant nito, multiply muna natin yung y and z. So, you have yz, then lagay natin sa ilalim yung kasama ng k, which is vw. Yan, tatandaan natin yung equation na yan. Then, we can now proceed. Simulan natin sa first line. So, para makuha natin yung first line, ang unang hinanap is constant. So, gamitin muna natin yung equation. So, we need to find first your constant with the equation yz over vw. Okay. So, ang y natin ay 15. Ang ating z ay 4 over the value of v is 6 and the value of w ay 5. So, we have here 15 times 4 ay 60, then 6 times 5 ay 30. So, 60 divided by 30, ang value ng constant ay 2. So, we write here 2, and we can already have our equation. Papalitan lang natin yung k dito with 2. So, the equation, palitan lang natin yung k doon with 2. Vw all over z. And that is for the first line. Okay, punta tayo sa second line. So, ang missing natin dito, the equation and w. Pwede natin isulat na equation kasi ito na yung k natin. May sagot ka kagad. Y is equal to, balitan lang natin yung k ng 9 Vw over z. Ay, sagot. So, how are we going to find w? Kuhanin natin yung equation. So, y is equal to 9 Vw over z. Then, we simply substitute kung ano yung mga available natin given. So, we have y here, 36. Was 9. So, v is 2. Then, nawawala yung w over ang z natin ay 3. So, multiply muna natin yung denominator and our number doon sa kabilang ng equal sign, which is 36. So, 36 times 3, that is 108. 108. And then 9 times 2 is 18. So, 18w. So, to find your w, divide both sides by 18. So, we're going to have 108 divided by 18. And that is equivalent to 6. So, that means the value of w is 6. So, we write there 6. Asan yun? Kompleto na ating second line. Now, proceed tayo ngayon sa third line, pero burahin muna natin to para may space. So, I hope you got that first and second line. para masagutan nyo rin yung nasa module. So, sundan nyo lang kung paano ko sinagutan. Same ang process lang kasi pinareho lang natin kung ano yung nawawala per line dun nasa module natin. So, proceed tayo. Third line. So, we have here already your equation. Y is equal to 5bw over 2z. Ang ating constant dito, given na agad. So, ito agad yun. Yung constant na 5 over 2. Yung numbers na nandoon. So, 5 over 2. Okay. Then, after that, pwede na nating kuhanin yung equation. 5bw over 2z. Then, rewrite lang ulit natin. Which, with our available given. So, y is unknown. Was 5. Our v is 5. Our w is 6. At ang ating z ay 2. So, over 2 times 2. Okay, rewrite lang natin. 5 times 5 is 25 times 6, that is 150. Divided by 2 times 2 ay 4. So, 150 over 4. So, 150 divided by 4 is not a whole number, pero divisible by 2. So, that is 75 over 2, or 37.5. So, ating value ng y ay 75 over 2. Yan. So, tapos na tayo sa third line. We proceed with our fourth line. So, same thing. We already have here your constant, constant k, which is 3. Sulit lang natin. Then, rewrite lang ulit natin yung equation. Y is equal to 3vw over z. So, we have here our given. Our y is 100. So, equals 3. Ang ating v ay nawawala. And then, the w is 5. And our z ay 3. Oy, para mas mapadali natin, cancel na lang natin yung 3 dito. So, or kaya naman, sige, huwag natin gawin ganun. Para mas baka iba yung given sa book. So, module sa 3bw over 3. So, multiply muna natin yung 3 at saka yung 5. So, tapos yung 100 at saka 3. 100 times 3 ay 300. Ulit, paano nakuha yung 300? 100 times 3. Then, 3 times 5, 15v. Then, divide lang natin both sides by 15 para makuha natin yung value ng v. So, value of v, 300 divided by 15 ay 20. So, value ng v natin ay 20. So, that is for our third and fourth line. We proceed to our last one. So, ito na lang burahin natin para may space. So, for the last one, we already have the value of your constant, which is 4. Pwede natin ulit sulat. So, y is equal to 4vw over z. Kasi ayun na, given na. 4 daw yung constant. Then, we rewrite the equation. Y is equal to 4vw over z. Elaborate natin itong isa. Next. So, nawawala is y. So, y is equal to 4. Ang v natin ay 8. Ang w natin ay 9. Then, ang ating z ay 2. So, may nakita na naman na tayong shortcut ulit. So, 8 divided by 2, pwede yung 4. So, 4 times 4, 16 times 9, or 9 times 4, 36 times 4. So, ang value ng y natin ay 144. So, ang sagot natin dito ay 144. So, I hope you learned here para mas masagutan niyo yung ating nasa module. Ngayon, let us solve some problems. Kasi para naman to doon sa learning task 4. para masagutan natin yung learning task 4. So, katulad ng nasa direct and inverse, i-rewrite muna natin to into equation. So, we have here the kinetic energy. So, sabihin na natin K lang. So, the kinetic energy K varies jointly. So, jointly to. Ay, wag lang nga kaya natin K. Let's change it into E. Kasi K nga pala yung constant natin. Let's change it into E. So, the kinetic energy E varies jointly as the mass. So, Km and the square of the velocity. So, may square tayo ng velocity. Let's make it M and then V squared. Lagyan lang natin yung equation. So, then, para makuha natin, constant muna. So, constant divide by MV squared. Para makuha natin yung ating constant. So, E over MV squared. So, let's write. So, a mass of 8 grams, yung mass natin, 8. And a velocity of 5, ang velocity ay 5 squared. Kasi, M, you have here, natin, ito yung M, then your V. Then, per second, has a kinetic energy of 100. So, 100. So, pwede natin i-simplify. So, 100 over 8 times 25. So, para mas padali natin yung 100 divisible sa 25. So, pwede natin i-simplify ito as 4. Then, 4 over 8, that is 1/2. So, 1/2 yung K natin. Then, we can already rewrite the equation. So, E now becomes, your K now is 1/2. So, 1/2 MV squared. So, you can solve. Find now the kinetic energy. So, ang nawawala is yung E. For a mass of 6, so we have a mass ng 6. Then, a velocity of 9 centimeters per second squared. So, we have 9 squared. So, pwede natin i-simplify. 6 divided by 2 here is 3. Then, 3 times your 9 times 9 is 81. And then, the answer will be 3 times 81 is 243. Since it's a problem, do not forget our unit of measurement. So, for kinetic energy, that is ergs. So, 243 ergs. Yan. Tayo sa kasunod na problem. So, I hope you understand that problem solving. So, we have here, to the right again. So, we have here the number of minutes. Yun na natin M. Needed to solve an exercise, a set of variation varies directly as the number of problems. So, gawin natin yung P. So, M is equal to K, P, kasi directly. Pero may kasunod pa. And inversely as the number of people. So, gawin natin itong sungkong problems yon. Itong number of people, gawin natin N. Working on a solution. So, we have M is equal to KP. Ay, inversely pala. Sorry. So, over dapat yon. KP over N. Then, take note yung mga ginagamit nating variables. Pagkatapos nun, kuhanin muna natin yung ating constant. So, multiply muna natin M and N. So, K is equal to M times N, then over your P. So, again, yung ating M ay yung number of minutes, yung N number of people, at yung P is yung number of problems. Okay. So, kuhanin muna natin kung ano yung constant. So, we have here, it takes 4 people 36 minutes to solve 18 problems. So, ano yung 4 people na yon? Yung 4 people po na yon ay yung N. So we have M. So, yung N natin ay 4. Then, 36 minutes. Yung 36 is yung M. So, lagay lang natin to. Yung 4 people is N. 36 minutes is M. Then, yung problems ay yung ating P. So, over 18. So, pwede natin divide. 36 divided by 18 ay 2. 2 times 4 ay 8. The value of constant ay 8. So, we can now rewrite the equation as M is equal to 8P over N. Then, we have to find the number of minutes. Take for 6 people. So, 6 people na to is yung N with 42 problems, which is P. So, rewrite lang natin. So, 8 times RP is 42 at ang ating N ay 6. So, yan, pwede ulit natin divide. 42 divided by 6 ay 7. And 8 times 7 ay 56. So, ang atin pong sagot for this is 56 minutes. Yan. So, I hope naintindihan nyo po yung step by step natin. Kuhanin natin muna yung equation. Kuhanin yung constant. Pagkakuha ng constant, substitute sa ating equation. And then, take a look at the last statement or question to find what is unknown. Then, substitute directly the given based on how you let the values as a variable. Ngayon, punta tayo dun sa huli. Paano naman natin sasagutan yung activity number 2 na binigay sa inyo? So, para masagutan nyo itong activity na to, so, you have here different words or phrases sa bawat isa. Sa bawat phrases na yan, may mga questions. It's either magta-translate kayo, which we had a while ago, or pwedeng magso-solve. Solve for, basta to po ay nakafocus lamang sa joint variation. So, joint lamang ang focus ng activity number 2. Then, meron din po ito problem solving. So, balik-balikan nyo lang po yung ating part. Halos lahat ng diniscuss natin dito magagamit nyo para ma-solve to. Ngayon, if your answer, for example, dun sa una, this one I think is translate. For example, y is equal to kxz ang sagot nyo. Hahanapin nyo siya ngayon dito sa ating decoder. Limbawa, nandito siya sa part na to. Write natin yung part na yun. Limbawa, nandito si y is equal to kxz. So, isusulat natin doon. 2c. Then, so on and so forth. Kung paano, saan nyo makita yung tamang sagot, ilalagay nyo yung corresponding na words. Okay po. Sana masagutan nyo yung ating activity based from the previous discussions dito sa mga slides natin. And then, I hope na naintindihan nyo yung pinagkaiba ng joint and combined variation. And sana grade 9 students of Tansahay, you will be able to answer all the learning tasks and activity for this week. That's all for today. Thank you and God bless.